So the news is tightening around one of India's most notorious fugitive economic offenders, Mehul Choksi, the billionaire jeweler turned scamster, has been arrested in Belgium. Sources say Choksi, who has been on the run since 2018 after masterminding one of India's biggest banking scams, has been detained by authorities in Belgium. Sources say India has immediately pressed for the extradition proceedings, pushing Belgian authorities to hand over the main accused, the man who is accused of looting over 13,500 crores of public money from the Punjab National Bank. Let's get you a deep dive into Choksi's timeline of betrayal and evasion. Remember, it was 6 years ago, in the year 2018, that Mehul Choksi and his nephew Nirav Modi were accused of defrauding PNB through fraudulent letters of undertaking using shell companies and internal collusion. So once he arrives in the country, what are the charges that he faces? Take a look at that. Criminal conspiracy. It's a big scam, started in 2018. That's when it came to light. But before it came to light, Mehul Choksi had already fled the country. Another charge that he faces is of cheating and fraud. He also faces charges of money laundering, and these are the charges that he is going to be facing, the law that he is going to be facing when he is on Indian soil. He is expected to be brought back to the country. These are the charges that have been leveled against him, including criminal breach of trust. Remember, both Nirav Modi as well as Mehul Choksi had fled India in January 2018, just weeks before the CBI had filed the FIR. So he has charges of corruption, and he had taken the Antiguan citizenship under the Caribbean nations citizenship by investment program. It's a calculated legal move to evade Indian extradition requests. Now, despite India's repeated diplomatic efforts and a huge evidence being provided, this is the latest update where he has been arrested in Belgium. Now, the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI have both filed charge sheets running into thousands of pages. It traces the money trails, the dummy firms and shell accounts across jurisdictions. And it went on. It started here, but it went on in several locations across the world, from Hong Kong to Dubai to Antigua, and now finally in Belgium. So from India, he went to Antigua, and remember, he took the citizenship from there as well. And this was a calculated move to avoid being extradited to India. And this wasn't just a scam in a spreadsheet. The PNB, which is a government bank funded by the taxpayers' money, was looted. Farmers, middle-class families, students, all affected when trust in India's banking system took a massive hit. My colleague Bhavtosh Singh is joining us on the broadcast with the details of what's expected next. He has now been arrested. Bhavtosh, what next? How long could it take? What are the challenges that the central agencies could face?
Well, the challenges that they will face is to bring him back to India, much like, say, in case of Nirav Modi, whose all legal options have completely run out. But he's still there in London prison since May 2019 because he has sought, in fact, he has managed to get stopped to his extradition on humanitarian grounds. So first, his extradition proceedings have to start, and then subsequently India has to convince Belgian courts that he would get a free trial, and also that there would not be any human rights violation. Having said that, both CBI and ED has filed several charge sheets against them. Both Mehul Choksi as well as his nephew have non-bailable warrants against them. Though the red notice that was issued against Mehul Choksi was dropped for some unknown reasons by Interpol in March 2023. There is one additional information. Extradition request was sent by India to Belgian authorities 3 months back. And it was during that period of time that Mehul Choksi and his wife, Preeti Choksi, had moved from Antigua to Belgium on the pretext that Mehul Choksi is suffering from blood cancer. And he was, in fact, admitted in a hospital there. His lawyer, in fact, also informed a special court in Mumbai, which was hearing the fugitive economics offender case against him, that he cannot be tried because he is presently in Belgium. And once Indian agencies realized this, they pressed for his arrest, and he was arrested on 11th of April. So one has to wait and see what will happen next. His legal team has said that they will first try to seek his bail and then subsequently oppose his extradition.
Okay, all right. Bhavtosh, stay with us for a better understanding of how the legal system could work and what are the challenges. Swapnil Kothari is also on the broadcast with us. But before I go across to him, we have breaking updates coming in. With Choksi now in Belgian custody, the spotlight now shifts to the diplomatic agility. The road ahead is not going to be an easy one, and India has no extradition treaty with Belgium. But under international criminal cooperation frameworks, India can still push for his repatriation based on bilateral legal assistance and mutual trust. In fact, sources say that this could be India's best shot yet at actually bringing back a man who has dodged justice for 6 long years. Also remember, Choksi had been detained by the authorities in Belgium, even though there is no active red corner notice against him. Choksi's legal team says that they will file for bail and will strongly oppose the extradition. But this is not just about Choksi. This is also about the message that India is sending to the world. Because just days ago, India had dragged back 2611 conspirator Tahawwur Rana to India after the United States had approved his extradition. He is a man accused of terrorism. And today, Belgium has arrested a man involved in financial fraud, a crime that may not bleed the body but bleeds the nation's economy, and that's why it's significant. There are different crimes, but it's the same consequence. This is Naya Bharat's steely message. Whether it's a terrorist or a scamster, if you hurt Indians, the law of the land will chase you, corner you, and bring you to the country. Swapnil Kothari, it's a big message. Before I come to the legal complexities that could follow, why is it so important? And it comes close on the heels of Tahawwur Rana being brought to the country.
Well, Pratibha, good morning. It's very important that this person, Mehul Choksi, is brought to the country so that he faces trial here and we meet the ends of justice. Just getting his properties attached and sold off and proceeds of crime being converted into money and being given back to the individuals who have been fleeced or cheated is not enough. Arrest is very important. Other than that, he will reveal a lot more information, just like Tahawwur Rana would, that whether only on 2611, whether Taj was or Oberoi were the only targets. So what presupposed that and what is going to happen thereafter, or what would have happened thereafter? These are the important information that Tahawwur Rana would give. Similarly, Mehul Choksi would reveal a lot more information about which hands were there in the cookie jar at the top ministerial level, at police level, at the Interpol level. Suddenly that red corner notice suddenly vanished. Then what was this Antigua thing that he had? And then suddenly now he's shifted to Belgium. Antigua, of course, we knew that he was trying to avoid arrest. So these are all very important things that only an individual can speak. His properties can be attached, and how many other properties are there abroad? Like Nirav Modi has had a ton of properties in their wife's name, etc. So likewise, Mehul Choksi could also be having properties abroad, which may be not under the radar or under a scanner. So that is something which would come as important. And I think, to the best of my knowledge, Pratibha, there is a treaty between India and Belgium. Okay. So other than, I'm going to be very glad that even if there isn't one, but I believe there is one, but as you pointed out, that due to the Committee of Nations, they are bound to exchange this criminal back to India, send this criminal back to India. And I'm glad that 3 months ago, when this whole process was...
In fact, the fact that he is not a citizen, he claims anymore, of India, that could also come in. But before I come to your reaction coming in.
Apart from getting Mehul Choksi back home, so I hope government of India has identified where he stashed away his money, and it will be brought back to India.
It has been a long battle since last 7 years. People like you and other whistleblowers who were continuously trying to get him back to India and the money which he looted back to the people who deserve that money. So it has just started now, but you think it will be a long time taking procedure?
Obviously, it is not going to be easy task. Extradition is not an easy task, and he is full of his wallet is full, and obviously he will employ the best of lawyers in Europe to avoid his extradition, like what Vijay Mallya has been doing. I don't think so. It is going to be easy task for India to get him back as such.
As you told us, he will employ his lawyers. So we have got his lawyers' reaction also, and they are saying that they will try everything in the legal book that they will get him bail there, and they will oppose the extradition also. So how do you see the legal procedure being initiated by his lawyers?
Obviously, he will do it. He has a good example of Vijay Mallya, who has been doing it for years now. So even in when he was caught in Antigua and other island, he could manage to get out of it because he has a fleet of lawyers. I don't think though it's going to be so easy for Indian government to get him. But I wish and I hope that this time government will succeed.
Hari sir, we all know about the amount. It's 13,800 crores. But if you can just elaborate on the number of victims who were affected by this scam and they are still affected. So how was it a humanitarian crisis for all depositors who lost their money?
No, it's according to my best of knowledge, at least 100 of franchisees have got cheated by him, and most of them have put up cases in various cities in India. But what can they do now? Because even I got his arrest warrant, everything from Bangalore police, but nothing happened. He's smart enough to get away from the clutches of law. He has a big booty of money. He can do anything.
Recently, we have got an extradition of Tahawwur, who is a terror accused, and now we are in process to get an extradition of a scamster, of a bank frauder. So how do you see India's legal system working and India's enforcement agencies working to get all the criminals who are away from India to get them back? How do you see this attempt from government of India?
The legal system in India is very great, undoubtedly, but the process we have to follow when we are dealing with a foreign country depends on the country that we are dealing with. You see, the laws and the legal systems are going to take place, take some lot of time, but I hope so they can get him back. That's the only hope, because he is not going to take it easy. He has a fleet of lawyers from the best of the world. First of all, he has so much money. It's only...
So the whistleblower welcoming the news that India has started the process and is going to formally ask for the extradition of Mehul Choksi, talking about the legal complexities around the case as well. Bhavtosh continues to stay live with us. And Bhavtosh, take us through the charges that he faces in India. The ED as well as the Enforcement Directorate had also filed multiple charge sheets in the case.
Well, it was in February 2018 that the first FIR in this case was filed, Pratibha, at that point of time, the total bank fraud against PNB Bank was only 250 crore rupees. It was only 4 or 5 days later when CBI in fact told the world actually that the bank fraud is around 2,500 crore rupees, and then subsequently it went to 5,000 crore rupees, and then a month later around 7,000 crore rupees, and then it was the bank actually that said that it was 13,000 crore rupees, and still being tabulated how big this fraud is. Then once CBI filed the first FIR, Enforcement Directorate registered a case of money laundering, and then actually the chase to locate them happened. Raids and searches at their South Mumbai houses happened. Then both CBI and ED realized that they have, in a very surreptitious manner, left the country. Just on the New Year's Eve of 2018, they left. Mehul Choksi and his wife went to US. That was in fact confirmed by the Air India ticket. And as far as Nirav Modi and his family is concerned, they first went to France and then subsequently went to Hong Kong. It took nearly 6 to 7 months for agencies to find Mehul Choksi. Mehul Choksi went to US, and from there he went to, in fact, he was first located in New York. From there he went to Antigua. In June he was located there, and Antiguan authorities, despite best of efforts, did not ever help India. Then in 2021 he was in fact found in Dominica. He claimed that he was abducted by Indian agencies, and then an attempt was made by India to deport him. That did not in fact help India, and then he went back to Antigua. Earlier this year, there were reports that he was in Belgium. This time around, India did not in fact lost any time. They contacted Belgian authorities and told them that he along with his nephew had carried out the biggest banking fraud, and then he was actually on 11th of April was arrested. And let's hope that he comes back to the country, and let's also hope that Nirav Modi also comes back.
Okay, all right. Bhavtosh, thank you for joining us with those details. Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, the list is long. Swapnil Kothari, how could this play out?
Pratibha, this is not going to be very easy. But I'm very confident that if Tahawwur Rana can be sent back by the US, a lot of these countries will follow the US system and try to send him back. One of the most important things here is that there is an extraditable offense, in the sense that there is dual criminality, in the sense that what is punishable in Belgium is punishable here, which is cheating and fraud and money laundering, etc. Now, in 1901, there was exchange of letters between Britain and Belgium. So that is what is operative right now, which we call as an extradition treaty. But recently, the Union government has ratified and approved the signing of a proper extradition treaty with Belgium. So I believe as we speak, it could have been signed and it may not be there on the cards at the moment, or it could be just in the offing. So that being the case, that legal hurdle of having an extradition treaty would possibly be off the hook. The other than that, now, regardless of howsoever, whatever money he has got, it's only a ticking time bomb as far as I am concerned. If not today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, this gentleman is going to come and land on the soil of India. He is going to face all these criminal charges, both the Enforcement Directorate, the Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, that is something one. Money laundering, that is the PMLA, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and several IPC sections also. So all will work cohesively to ensure that he faces or possibly spends the rest of the time in jail. And his property is identified. So I'm very hopeful, Pratibha, about this. And not only this, but I'm sure even Vijay Mallya is going to have sleepless nights. And so is Nirav Modi. Vijay Mallya is still not in jail. Nirav Modi is in jail. His bail has been refused 7 times, by the way, Pratibha. So you can imagine that that is not going to be very far. And both these people are involved in this scam.
Yes.
Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi both together. So if one comes, the other one is going to follow.
Yes.
Now, Vijay Mallya is going to be a little tough because, Pratibha, just for the benefit of the viewers, a lot of tax money, from what I've heard, is being paid by him. So Britain tends to act a little soft on people who pay boatloads of tax money to them.
Okay.
So nevertheless, the diplomatic channels should work.
Yes.
With India having, calling the shots pretty much now.
Absolutely. And, you said that he will be having nightmares now that this latest arrest has taken place. Let's see what happens next, especially considering that he now has a citizenship of Antigua, which is why I asked about the legal complexities and how that could play out. But let's take a look at what could happen next. In fact, it's a big victory for India against the fugitive economic offenders. The PNB scam accused Mehul Choksi has been arrested in Belgium. So what could happen next? Is he going to be extradited next? That's going to be interesting to see. He has now been arrested in Belgium. We're told it was at the request of the Enforcement Directorate as well as the CBI that he was arrested. He is wanted in India for the PNB scam, and he is accused of the over 13,000 crore fraud in the country. And remember, before the scam came to light, he had already escaped. And a few months after he escaped is when the CBI had filed the case in this regard. He fled India in January in 2018, and he faces not just a CBI case but also an Enforcement Directorate case in the country. And he had escaped to Antigua, and this is where it becomes tricky because he had also obtained the citizenship from there, citizenship from investment. So since Antigua doesn't have an extradition treaty with India, even if he's arrested in Belgium, is he going to be deported to Antigua or not remains the question. He has been evading agencies for 6 years now. So, Swapnil Kothari, since he is a citizen of Antigua, even if he is arrested in Belgium, is there a possibility that he could in fact be deported to Antigua? And what are the, again, challenges that could come in the case?
Well, Tahawwur was a Canadian national. So, still we are able to bring him back. Now, if this gentleman is also, an Antigua national because of that investment scheme that he has had, what best can happen, or what worse, let's put it that way. First, he has to be deported to Antigua, and there we have to use diplomatic channels to get him back from there. So it's only, like a stopover that we have, when we fly from one country to the other via another country. So that's the stopover that he's going to have. It's not going to be that difficult. Once Belgium decides to deport him, then obviously he has to come back to the country where the fraud has taken place. So Antigua will not be in a position to hold on to his, hold on to him regardless of howsoever much money he has. Because, he's been deported back to the country. He's off. He's been sent off because he's a criminal. So if that is the operative word, then wheresoever that person goes, if not directly to us, he will have to come back via Antigua to us. And I think India has got enough diplomatic prowess to ensure, if we can get Tahawwur, imagine Pratibha, getting it from the United States, getting him back from the United States, and in a way I'm happy that Trump is taking all these decisions to, send all these people off from his country. He doesn't want any of them. So, this is also the same thing. I'm going to be happy about this, that despite some hurdles that he could face, citizenship will not work. as much because there is criminality attached to it. Let's look at this way. The extradition treaty always works between dual criminality principle and an extraditable offense. Now, citizens are going to be different. If one runs away from the here and takes a citizenship somewhere else, that's all on the power of money or investment. So at the end of the day, you've committed a crime here. There is an extradition treaty. There is an extraditable offense. We can convince that we are not going to torture him. We have got respect for human rights. These are all 3-4 requirements which I think India can easily satisfy a court of law out there. And it all depends on diplomatic power at the end of the day.
Okay, all right. In fact, sources say that he wanted to surrender his passport back in 2018, but that had been rejected by the Indian authorities. So he has now been arrested in Belgium. That's a big update. We have more breaking updates now coming in. This is the latest on the arrest as we access more details. Choksi had tried to surrender his passport, but his request had actually been rejected. Back in 2018 is when he decided to surrender his passport because he has obtained citizenship in Antigua. But that request had been rejected by the Indian authorities. Bhavtosh is joining us with that scoop. Yes, Bhavtosh.
Yeah, Pratibha, what actually happened in 2018 was that he was first located in Antigua, and he claimed that in 2017 he had moved an application before the Mumbai RPO, that is Regional Passport Office, claiming that he wanted to surrender his Indian citizenship, and that in 2017 itself he has acquired the Antiguan citizenship. But once that offense of PNB banking fraud came out, Indian government told that because you have committed an offense and your criminal records have not been cleared, we would not accept your request. And since then, this battle is going on. India did ask Antigua to extradite him back. India also asked Dominica to deport him back. And 3 months back, when he was spotted in Belgium, in Antwerp in particular, India asked that both Mehul Choksi as well as Preeti Choksi should be deported back. At that point of time, he got wind of this, and both of them wanted to move to Switzerland. And this was on the basis of the F citizenship that his wife has for Belgium. And at that point of time, Belgian authorities got alerted and arrested him.
Okay, all right. Bhavtosh and Swapnil Kothari, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Quick break now. We'll be right back.